All right. It definitely helps to turn the mic on whenever you're going to speak into it. So, hello, everybody. Chris Scott here with the Paperless Agent for today's member training, where we're going to be talking about major Facebook updates. And so, hopefully, you can hear me now. Go to the, there you go. I know, a little technical issue. I guess we call that user error. I didn't turn on the mic thing. So, here's what we're going to do today. We've got a number of updates that we're going to cover specifically around Facebook, and then a few other things that I wanted to update you on, as well as get into some new tools available from Facebook. So with that, I think what the format that we're going to use for today is I'm going to quickly switch over to the slides and information that I've prepared, and maybe even use my screen to do a few demonstrations. But we're going to be talking about Facebook. And like I said, we have a few other things to talk about today. So let me go ahead and share my screen here while I've got it in front of me. And there we go. So the first update that I wanted to share with you is not about Facebook. It's about your November monthly value program, right? This is the marketing campaign that we provide you guys with every single month. And I wanted to give you a quick, very, very quick rundown on what the theme is, a couple of variation or ideas that you might want to use to innovate on top of the campaign that we're already providing you, and then give you an opportunity to download it. You can download this campaign right now, live action, by clicking on that link that is at the top. Is that it? No. Jordan's going to put the link for downloading this campaign somewhere here pretty shortly, so you'll download it. But let's take a look at what the theme is. So it is a seasonal theme that we've got here. 'Tis the season, 5 reasons why winter is a great time to buy or sell a home. And what we dive into with this piece is something that Gary has been talking a lot, and our partner Jonathan over at Kreth Partners at our own real estate firm. One of the things that we've been doing is really focused on, just like you guys, how do we get business, right? How do we continue to get business? And for us, our focus has been on listings. We actually have one that's coming live tomorrow again. So we've got, I don't know how many we have at this point. I just know we got a bunch of marketing campaigns running for them. But it is a good time to buy or sell a home this time of year. And so one of the things that we want to do, and what we do with our own clients, is we like to educate our clients on what's going on and why, what's happening in the market, and help them understand that if it's something that they were thinking of doing, that, all right, let's not stop the activity now that it's November and think we're going to pick it back up on the spring. No, in fact, there's many reasons why. There's 5 reasons why that we get to in this piece. So here's the newsletter. There's the cover letter that you can attach the newsletter to email out to folks. In addition to that, remember, you can send this out through the marketing suite, which is the digital HTML version of this, which is available in the marketing suite if you choose to do so. In addition to that, we've got the blog post for you that posted this morning to your website. If you've set up your website with us, if you haven't set up your website, I don't know why. It's included with your membership. Go set up your website so that we can start posting this article for you automatically. To set up your website, just go to the dashboard, which is go to thepaperlessagent.com/dashboard, and there will be a card on your dashboard that says Agent ID site, and that's where you'll be able to set that up, and we'll start posting that blog post for you. Here's the Facebook post on this same theme. Remember, we're implementing omnipresent marketing and being able to share this topic in all the different modes of communication that we have available to us. Here's a Facebook post. If you would like to do an innovation on this, I wanted to draw your attention to something that we did last month. So for last month's theme, it was on how's the market. And so we were reporting on some national stats. One of the things that Gary opted to do for his Facebook post is, instead of using, I think we did both. We put the image from the campaign that we provided, and he filmed a brief video introduction to it. And so if you guys want to do something like that, when you post this information to Facebook, I encourage the use of different forms or different formats when applying our campaigns. And so in this case, it's using the highly engaging format of video. Now, some of you might say, I'm not really ready to do that video kind of thing yet. And I totally understand. A little variation that you could do to the same theme is to take a photo of yourself and somehow incorporate that headline. Now, I pulled this out from, if we have time, I'm going to show you how to do a sample campaign doing something like this. And so all I did was I took a photo of myself, and I am kind of pointing to what the headline is going to be, and then you can post something like that. And you can do both. You could do the image that we share and do a little variation, and then just link to the blog post in that social media post that you're sharing. In fact, one of the campaigns that I have running in Facebook that's an ongoing campaign, it's this one right here that's going to pull up in a second. And what this video campaign consists of is, I don't know, it's several videos where we are providing real estate tips, and then they can scroll through and see those those videos within this Facebook video ad. Now, this is only going to our database, so I only spend $1 or $2 a day just to make sure that our database is constantly seeing our information. Now, if let's say you're not comfortable doing video, you could actually do a series of these carousel ads like the one that you see here. This is a multi-image ad. And what you do is you create a card for each image, and each card can link to a different URL. And so what you could do is use this concept here and link to your blog, like have one multi-image ad where you've got photos like this, or you could even use a video, or you can even use the social posts that we provide you with, but you're going to create an ad where it has multiple cards linking to this blog post, the current month's blog post, as well as previous month's blog posts. I think if we have time, I'm going to pull up I'll pull up this actual ad campaign so you can see what that looks like. So that is this month's campaign. There's the There's the Instagram post. There's the Pinterest post, and then even a phone script. By the way, guys, very, very important this time of year, as we enter into the end of the year, to take that extra time, since maybe you're not showing as many homes this time of year, maybe don't have as much business activity, is take the time, pull out the script that we're providing you, and reach out to the people in your sphere of influence after you've sent this campaign out, and use a script or a variation of the script to do this one thing, which is to stay in touch, have real estate related conversations so that you can get a sense of, right, who in my sphere of influence is thinking of making a move in the next 3, 6, 12 months even, right? So this is the best way for you to have a conversation related to real estate where you can ask somebody, hey, so let me ask you, is making a move in your plans for the next year? And so this is going to be very helpful for you to be able to not only find those opportunities of someone who's thinking of maybe listing their home this time of year or taking action this time of year, but also to set up the next year. You can download this entire marketing campaign for your monthly value program right here. And I know Jordan posted that link up in that sticky note. So that's the first announcement that I had before we get to the major Facebook updates. My next announcement or update is a request for help. So I need your vote. I know yesterday was election day here in the United States for the midterm elections, and I'm asking for your vote on something. And I want you to be, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a logo for a program that Gary and I are developing that we're going to be launching later this month. But I would really like to get your guys' input on what logo and direction you think is best for this program. Now, before I can show you the logo, I should probably talk and share with you just what the program is so you have a sense of, okay, this is what this logo is designed to represent. So Gary and I are building this program called the Listing Expert Agent Program and Certification. And really what it's designed to do is to help you, with an emphasis on listings and building a listing-oriented business, is to build market share, to be able to create excess opportunity, and to reduce time spent on transactions. So what we're trying to duplicate is Gary's 21 years of experience in being a listing agent, and be able to, in this program, show, all right, these are the ways in which we consistently generate listings, right? So even now we have we have a number of listings on the market right now, just for us and our small team. I think the majority of them are over $1 million, which in our market is pretty big. I know some of you are like, $1 million, that won't even buy you a shanty shack over on the other side of town. In Austin, that is a luxury home. So what we wanted to do is to take Gary's experience plus my experience in marketing and say, all right, how do you start to build market share? Because that's one of the dynamics of having a listing-oriented business, is that you can look at a neighborhood, you can look at an area, you can look at a demographic and say, all right, market share is like having a moat around your business. Market share produces predictability because you know you're going to get X% market share and it has momentum and it's for something for you to build on. The other thing is it creates excess opportunity because we are bringing up, people are coming to us. An excess of people are coming to us. We have buyers coming to us. We have sellers coming to us. And so it does create excess opportunity where you get to pick and choose who you're working with as opposed to always having to follow the next one. Now, for us, what that means is, you might expand the team. You might just work more, right? Or you might refer that business out, which is one of the things that Gary has opted to do. And then the last one is a big one for all of us, which is being able to reduce the time we spend on individual transactions so that we can either spend more time investing in business activities or spend more time on not business activities, maybe taking a vacation, doing things that you enjoy doing. A big part of that is with the emphasis on developing that market share and creating that excess opportunity is you get to pick and choose who you're going to work with, and you're not going to be driving around in a car quite so much showing and towing property. So that's the program, the LEAP program, the LEAP certification. Now I'm going to put up 3 logos, and I'm just going to ask for you, Jordan, can you start? Do you have a poll lined up? So you're going to vote on either option 1, 2, or 3. All right. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up all 3, and then I'm going to let you take a look at all 3 of them, and then just vote on the one that you like the most. So here are the 3 different options. It's called the Listing Expert Agent program. And so option 1, option 2, or option 3. So let me blow them up a little bit bigger. Here's option 1. This is the logo for option 1. And since it's a certification, this would be something where graduates of this program would be able to use this logo and icon for their own purposes. There's option 2. Okay, instead of being spelled out like option 1, it's stacked on top of each other. And then here's option 3, which is an emphasis on the whole LEAP concept and then being a graduate of this program. So option 1, option 2, option 3. Please vote on which option that you're liking more. And that's going to give us some good feedback so that when we bring this program out later this year, or later this month, I should say, that we'll know what you guys are thinking. And hopefully we'll be able to see in this program. It's very exciting. Gary and I just spent the last 2 weeks in the studio and last couple of months really developing it, trying to distill and extract, okay, what makes Gary's business unique? And what are the things that we've done to be able to, that we take for granted, right? Because we don't have to spend gazillions of dollars on our marketing. We don't have to do the cold calling, right? We have a healthy business without having to, because of this market share that's been built and building and focusing on the database. And a lot of that's just coming out of these different components to this program, which is the first thing is really about developing this listing expert value proposition, which is something that we've been, for 21 years, Gary has been developing, but we've taken this listing expert value proposition and really expanded this into this concept of being an expert. And so I was going to get into it, but I want to move on now because we're already 15 minutes into it. So thank you for your vote. And now it is time to move on to the first of the major Facebook updates. All right. And this is a big one because Facebook recently they published this post and ran this. This was actually on October 17th. They shared this announcement that they were going to be reducing low quality ads on Facebook. All right. This is a very big deal because the criteria for what makes a low quality ad, we got to make sure that what we're producing doesn't bounce into their criteria. So now their goals, as a platform, there are a number of reasons why they want to do this, but it comes down to this main thing is they don't want to produce a bad experience for people on Facebook. And that includes not just the people that we interact with or the pages that are posting, but even the advertisements that are running. Now, a lot of this has spawned from a number of different reasons, but suffice it to say, for us, what's important is to make sure we are in compliance with what Facebook's looking for in terms of having quality advertisements. Now, Facebook has a definition, and I've just put it up on my screen here, on what low quality or disruptive content is. And within that announcement, when they said they were going to be reducing low quality ads, is this emphasis on, hey, we don't want low quality content throughout the Facebook ecosystem. So I'm going to point out a couple of things. There's 3 things that we want to do. right? We want to link to landing pages that include significant and original content that is relevant to your ad. So when we create an ad linking to your blog post, that's a good thing, all right? So if we create an ad like the one that we did for the monthly value program, talking about the 5 reasons to sell during the winter season, and that's the ad, and when they click on the ad, there's a full blog post that's been vetted out, that's that they would consider that significant and original content. Minimize text that blocks or prevents people from viewing the original text on your landing page. You'll see a lot of media publishers do this, where you go to, let's say you click on an ad and you go to a landing page or a blog post or just some information, and everything's crowded out by advertisements and pop-ups and so on and so forth. So, and then you want to make sure that you can display as much as you can as the entire article on the primary landing page. And what they're trying to prevent you from doing there is the concept of they only show a little bit of the article, and then they have a little arrow button that you have to go see the second part of the article or the second image. You see this with a lot of the celebrity stuff, I noticed, like, hey, here's 5 dresses worn during the Academy Awards, and they only show one dress at a time. You got to click, click, click. And the reason why those publishers or the advertisers do that is for you to see more of the ads. But Facebook considers that to be a low quality experience. So a couple of things we want to definitely avoid according to the list is use ads. Don't use ad images that are excessively cropped or require people to click the ad to view what the full image is. So I've seen a number of advertisements like this where they zoomed in really, really close on like a piece of fruit, and then they will say, this fruit is the super fruit that will like make you live 20 years longer or something like that. And so you click on that because you don't know what that fruit is. Another thing is don't include deceptive or exaggerated ad copy that incentivizes people to click on your ad. Same thing, the superfruit that will make you live 100 years longer, right? Don't do that. Avoid suggestive or shocking content. Don't display malicious or deceptive ads on your landing page. Don't have a high ratio of ads relative to the content on your landing page, and try to avoid the use of pop-up ads or interstitials. So I think for most of us, these are things that we are going to avoid, but it is important to note that that's a change that's been taking place. Now, I want to remind you guys of something that happened earlier this year. Much earlier this year, when Facebook said it was making changes to the platform as a whole. Mark did this post, I forget, this was like January, February, something like this. And the gist of it was, by making the changes that Facebook was making earlier in the year, they expected the time people spend on Facebook to go down and measures of engagement to go down. They talked about how page posts that generate conversations between people will show up higher in the news feed. And then he gave us an example of what they are considering high quality content or not low quality content. Things like live videos, things like local businesses like us. We have local businesses, right? Or self-employed people connecting with their communities by posting relevant updates and creating events. So these are the types of things where if you focus on quality, and you focus on not trying to hack people into or tricking people into going to your website or viewing your information, that's what they're trying to avoid. So I know most of us are not doing that. We just got to make sure we don't accidentally create an instance where we might be inadvertently producing or what might be interpreted as low quality content or disruptive content. I'll give you an example. When I was reading this, I was looking on our website, on our KrethRealEstate.com website. If you view a listing on our website and it's one of our property landing pages, I can't remember how long the delay is, but if you start scrolling around, I know there's like a pop-up. It's like a pop-up that invites people to request more information about the property. So one of the things that I'm looking at is, will that, and I got to go back and look at the campaigns for that particular landing page to see, is it having an effect? Because one of the things that Facebook did say is the way they're going to control this is by ads. The cost of those ads that have low quality or disruptive content will go through the roof. They're going to get lower distribution and they're going to be a higher price. So I need to go back and look at our ads for the campaigns where I have that pop up to see, is that being interpreted as low quality or disruptive content. So very easily to accidentally do this. I mean, think about it. You know, a lot of you, if you have an IDX feed, perhaps you have people visiting your website and you only allow them to click and see so many photos before it prompts a login. I don't know if that would affect, because that one is an action based. So that's just something for us to be aware of. It's very easy to do this by accident. Now on to the biggest update that Facebook shared with us recently. And this has not been a published announcement. This is something that they did on the sly. And it's that they now require us to use a tool that Facebook has called Business Manager if you want to use in your ad campaigns custom audiences that you've uploaded your database to Facebook to market to. Now, this is something that I have been recommending and still continue to recommend to do because it is a unique feature with Facebook where we can upload, you can get all the email addresses of your customers, upload that to Facebook, and then show them the advertisements. That's what, when we do our MVP, I always like to make sure that they see, our database sees the MVP. And a way I can guarantee that, or not guarantee it, a way I can improve the odds of them seeing it, because only so many people will see it as a post on Facebook, is to create an ad for it. Some of you might be boosting posts. I create an ad for that MVP post and show that to my database. Now, in order for that to happen, is I have to upload my database. They call that and consider that a customer file. And so what happened is that if you want to use, where did I do with it? I thought I had it in here. If you want to be able to use the, what the heck happened to my thing? Hold on a second. There was like a little side announcement that was showing up on Facebook. I might have accidentally deleted it. Where was it? Some Business Manager stuff. There it is. How'd it get there? So when you log into when you log into Facebook and you go to audiences, you'll see this post. It says connect to Business Manager to keep using customer file audiences. And so it wasn't a big announcement. It's just a feature thing. It seems like such a small thing, but this has big ramifications for any of us who want to be able to continue marketing to our database, for example, and using Facebook Ads Manager to do so. So the first question then you might be saying was, well, what the heck is a Business Manager? I know I've seen some posts in the private group, people asking about it. There's some confusion about what this tool is. And so what I want to do is explain to you guys, this is what Business Manager is. Here's how you create the account. And then here's how you create the audiences. And so, like I said, if you have any plans of marketing to your database and specifically creating a Facebook ad that goes to your database, you now have to use this tool. In fact, October 31st is when they discontinued the ability to use customer files to market to. So if you had that running in the past, those ads might have been turned off, or they're not marketing to those audiences anymore. Okay, so what is Business Manager? Business Manager is simply an access portal. It's just a different way for you to access your business pages and advertising accounts. The main purpose is to make it, in theory, easier and more secure to work on for teams and for people. Now you might say, well, I'm just all on my own. I don't have teams or people that I work with. And I understand. In this case, the reason why they're requiring it then is for a security measurement. Business Manager is free. And then it does allow you to, like one of the reasons why I started using Business Manager probably 2 years ago is we have other people that work on our accounts. And so I've got some contractors who also participate in addition to our team. And so Business Manager allows me to share my ad accounts and our pages to people who are outside of our organization. And so up until now, there was never really a need for me to train you guys on how to use Business Manager or why to set it up. But now that they're requiring it for us to be able to market to our databases, now we got to do it. There's some tricky things about setting up Business Manager. So we're going to walk through that. Once we've set it up and once we've configured it, once you get the organization of how it's structured, it should be like business as usual in terms of using Facebook. All right. So this is what does it affect? Like I said, this affects anyone who's uploading your database, right? So you upload your database to Facebook and run ads to them, which I highly suggest that you're doing fairly regularly. This is going to affect you. And so what happens if you go to Ads Manager and you go to audiences, right? So I can do this let me just pull up the example here since it might not have some context. Usually if you go to Facebook and you're in Ads Manager, You can go into Ads Manager and you can upload your database by going into Ads Manager, going to All Tools, and going to this area called Audiences. And within the Audiences section, this is where, within the Audiences section, is where you can upload your database. And that is the only place where this notice has been posted. I actually only found like one person online talking about this because I was looking for Facebook to find out, why did they do this? Why did they make this change? And they didn't say anything about it other than to have this one little post. So when you go here, that's where the Audiences section, that's where, if you go there right now and you don't have Business Manager and you're using customer files to market to, you're going to see this message that says, starting October 31st, you'll need Business Manager to run any new ads that use customer file custom audiences. And so that's what we have to do. And so what I want to do is show you how to do it, how to create a Business Manager account. So going back here, when you see this message, you can just click on Connect. And what that'll do is it's going to bring this pop-up. And what you'll do is you're going to select this Create New Business. You're going to click on this Create New Business option. When you do that, it just brings you here, though. And this URL is facebook.com, business.facebook.com/overview. So you could also just go to that URL, and then you're going to click on the Create Account button up at the top there. When you select that, it's going to, if you have any other existing businesses connected to you, this might show up like I do. But what we're doing is we're creating a new account. And so I did that. Then you're going to fill out your information. Very important that you use the right information. I highly suggest, if you have a Facebook business page, that your business page and the account, your business and the account name here is very, very similar. In fact, the first time I went through this, or actually I should say, when I was going through this recently to produce these slides for you guys, since I already had switched my accounts over, I wanted to recreate the experience. And one of the things that I found is I wasn't able to connect my Facebook business page to this Business Manager until I named this very close to the same thing. So that's just a little caveat for you as you're going through this. So you put in your information, put in your business email, add some additional details about your business, so you can just fill all of that on your own. You click Submit, and then it's going to create that Business Manager account. So pretty straightforward so far, very easy, right? Nothing shocking there. Just that one main caveat, your business name, when you're doing that, make sure that's lined up with your Facebook business page, because when you go to claim that page, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit, in order for you to be able to use it in your new advertising account, it needs to be very similar. So they send you an email. The email will look like that. Give it some time. This email literally took about 10 minutes to show up on my inbox. I was like hitting refresh. And I was like, oh, man. I kept checking spam folder. And then finally, like 10 minutes later, they sent the email. And so then I confirmed it. And when I do, it brings me here, and it's going to prompt you to move your account. Now, this is a tricky thing right here, because right now, unless if you're not using Business Manager, likely is you're using your Facebook personal profile account. That's your personal ad account that's connected to your personal profile. It's also connected to your business page. So if you have existing ads in there, you're probably going to want to move that from where it is into the new account. Now, this is, you can't like go back and forth. You can't move the data back. So if you don't want to move that stuff and you want to keep it separate, you want to keep it separate. I'm assuming, though, you want that account history and all your ads to port over. So in which case you would move it, and then you're done. But you haven't quite gotten everything done yet, because you still won't be able to run ads like you were running. So we have to do a few things to set up our Business Manager account in order for our ads to run properly. So when you go in to Business Manager, now this is a section, like you can get to Business Manager. If you're over in Ads Manager, you'll see that it's not this one. It's not Business Settings. You go to All Tools, and then you go to Business Manager, and it'll bring you to this dashboard page here. So when you're here, you'll see there's an option to add a page. And so if you want to be able to, have your Facebook page connected to your ads, which you're going to want to do, you need to be able to add a page. When you click on that button, you're going to have a couple of different options. If you have your own business page, you're going to click on Add Page. If it's somebody else's page, you can request access, or you can even create a brand new page here. I'm going to assume you already have a business page and you're going to add a page. And so you just start typing in your page and it'll pop up. This is where I ran into, like, I mean, it took me a good hour to figure out what I was doing wrong in this case while I was trying to reproduce these slides for you, which is I had created a different business name than the name of the business page that I was going to claim, and it just like would circle and not. So if you find that it doesn't let you load this page, it's because it's possible that it's because the business name that you chose is not close enough to the Facebook business page that you're going to claim. All right. So that's just a little tip for you guys. When you search it, it should pop up though, and then it'll bring you to this business settings page. And you'll see here, I've got like multiple. I've got within this business manager account, I have my my real estate business stuff as well as our paperless agent stuff all in here. But that is, there's only probably one more step that you'll have to take though for the settings. So this, and then we'll get into I'm going to show you how to navigate this stuff in just a second. But one of the things that you'll also want to do is if you're running and you want to have Instagram placements of your ads, is you need to also claim that asset as well. So when you're in here, let's go to Business Manager, you're going to see that you can go to this section either through Business Settings with this little button right there, or you click on the top and go to Business Settings. And both of these things will bring you to this page, which oftentimes confuses a lot of people because you're like, well, what the heck is this? And what this does, this breaks down the users or the people who have access to the different accounts, data sources, and all this other stuff. What we're going to concern ourselves right now is this is where if I wanted to add a business page, I can do it here. But I want to show you where to go to add your Instagram account if you have an Instagram account that you want to add to it. So you just click on Instagram accounts here off to the left, and then just click on add, and then it's going to ask you for the username and the password for the Instagram account that you're going to add. Right? That will be a Instagram business account if you want to use it in this area because it's for the advertising. Okay. Let me switch back over here, and I'm sure I'm generating a lot of questions about how all this stuff works. So now, once I've created Business Manager, let me go ahead and just take a moment to surf through Business Manager real quick. That's what I want to do. I'm going to surf through it because I've noticed when people switch to Business Manager and having a Business Manager account, it gets pretty like, oh my goodness, it looks different, and it definitely does. And my screen's going to look a little bit different because I have multiple pages and multiple ad accounts in here. For you, you'll only see probably only one ad account, and you'll only see one page unless you've added other stuff. So by and large, nothing really changes at this point. If you want to be able to access how you would create advertisements, for example, you would just leave Business Manager and go to Ads Manager, okay? And it's as simple as that. Or any other area within the Facebook ads tool set, you're just going to go from here. I think what happens is a lot of times we get confused. I'll say one of the most confusing things that happen is that when you go to your business page, I do this all the time. I go to my business page and I go to post something, and I'm like, why isn't that thing there? Why isn't that one option there? And then I got to remember, oh, I have to go to Business Manager to manage this page. So this is the one hassle factor that when you are updating posts, that you got to make sure you're accessing your page now through Business Manager. So you just click on that link, and it'll open it up it'll open up your business page through Business Manager, and then you're going to see that there's a lot more options on what you can do and what you can post to your own business page. And so hopefully that clears up. But other than that, let me go back to the Business Manager section. So the way and by the way, if it doesn't look, by the time you get here, let's say it looks slightly different. There was a while when you went to Business Manager and it actually took you to the business settings section of Business Manager, and it would just look like this. So, but from here, you're probably, unless you need to add resources, add assets, either add pages or add an Instagram account, you probably won't have much reason to come back in here unless you want to, let's say you've got a team, or let's say you have an office and you wanted to add someone to give, somebody from your office to give access to your stuff. You would add people. And for example, you would add people, and then you would add the pages, add accounts, and things that they have access to. But for most of you, that's not going to apply. For most of you, once you move over to Business Manager, you're going to be like, good, I got all that worked out. Now, remember, the reason why we're doing this is so that we can upload our customer file. Now, when I go to audiences, I can create that customer file quite easily, and it's not going to give me any notices saying that I can't do that anymore. So what I'm going to do is I mean, it's the same way you did it before. You just do a custom audience. I did want to point out something though. So there's some other things that changed related to this in the last couple of months. So when you're uploading your database, right? So you're going to want phone numbers and email addresses, and you select customer file. You're going to add customers for a file, or you can copy and paste the data. So I'm going to assume that I'm not going to go through all the way through this process. It's pretty straightforward. But one of the big things they want you to do here, and you want to make sure you fill this out correctly, is to select the origin of the data. All right. So the options that you have are from customers and partners, directly from customers, from partners. You are getting your data directly from the customers. Okay. It's not like this is where they had a lot of the issues before with, the data sharing practices and stuff like that. So now what they're doing is they want to confirm that, no, you got this data, you got this information from the customer. This information comes from the customer and it wasn't sourced from some other third party, whatever the case may be. So you would just select that and then upload the file. And then that database or that audience will be available for marketing to. And what I'm going to show you is really quickly, let me go into Facebook. So if I wanted to access Facebook ads, I just click on Ads Manager real quick. And then I can come in here and then start creating ads. All right. So I have an idea of doing a tutorial on creating a specific ad, Jordan, but I'm wondering if I should pause here and answer questions about Business Manager before I move on, because I want to make sure I answer those questions. Yes? Yes. Can you do me a favor and sort through those questions and read them off to me? Be super, super, super helpful.
You want me to come over there?
Oh, yeah, you can come on over here. I know. Jordan never likes being on the camera, but we like having Jordan here because it makes it, makes it fun. Say hello to Jordan, everybody.
Hey, guys. Sorry about the lack of makeup today. So do you believe multi-page forms would be considered low quality / disruptive content?
Multi-page forms. Mm-hmm. What is that?
I'm assuming like a landing page that requires you to like click on a button and then fill out information.
So that's the question. I'm not sure because I have that on my own website, on our own websites. Now, here's the thing. I think what they're trying to do is avoid super spammy practices. Like on our own website, there's a bit of a delayed. It's not like they go there and they have to opt in. There's a bit of a delay. And then it's something that right now, I have not seen that. Let me actually, sorry, I'm going to do, sorry, I got like,
reach around.
I don't want to like move my computer because I think it'll unplug from the internet. So I gotta kind of go over here. So we have, let me go over here. So I know there was a list. Where's the Calabria? Okay. So here's one of our listings that we have on the market. And we have a campaign running for this. And so we'll be able to look at the ad campaign for this in just a second. I think if you scroll in a little bit, I think at some point in time, there it is, schedule a private showing. So that was what, 7 seconds, 10 seconds? Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. If I look at the ad campaign for this one, let's take a look at the ad campaign for it. Ads Manager. So the ad campaign, I just want to see if it's being limited distribution in relation to the other ones. That one's for the one on Calabria, but this Calabria is not the actual one. That was a demo that I did. I think it's this one right here. And so, in relation to what the other campaigns are doing, I would say that no, it's not having an effect. But let's take a look in here and see what's going on. So so if you have something like that, it doesn't seem, but I don't know if they've rolled out all the changes. So here's what my suggestion is. As you're running campaigns to those pages, look for an abrupt change or a gradual, look for a change in the cost, right? Now, Facebook ad costs do tend to go up and they do tend to go down. So I wouldn't look at it and say, oh my goodness, what you're looking for is relative to your other stuff that's out there, what's taking place. You could also split test it, on one of your pages don't have it. But that is not clearly defined because this under one, like if you look at their criteria, like literally, like, hey, that's a pop-up. Mm-hmm. But it's not affecting their ads. So are they defining in the way they're like scanning the landing page to see how it performs? Do they consider something that waits 10 seconds to be the disruptive content? Yeah. Or are they looking at it and saying, well, this is supplemental to, engage the customer? I don't know. I mean, it's not hurting the ads yet. So you just have to wait and see. I mean, run the ads and see.
Cheryl wants to know if the MVP would be original content, since every Coaching Club member is posting the same thing.
Yeah, that when we get into the definition of original content, what they're talking about there is that your original content, meaning where are you pointing that to? What are the places that it's going to? Is it all going to the same website? Do you have, like, that's one of the things, don't have too many ads pointing to the same website or to the same landing page. And so they're looking for that, what they would deem, all right, here's information going to, because it's not like they're doing indexing of the web to be able to say, oh, this website has this information and that website has this information. So original content there is a different interpretation versus the SEO interpretation.
Got it. Annette says, can you have 2 different business manager accounts?
Yeah, you can. You can have multiple business manager accounts.
Do you want to have multiple business
I don't think so.
Accounts?
The only reason let's say we have one, but then I have access to more than one. Mm-hmm. But because I have other ad accounts that I get involved with. So I have one for Paperless Agent and for our real estate business. I just kind of bundled that all under one business manager account. But then I've got one that I have for my wife's website that's a separate business manager account. So it's totally separate businesses. And actually, in theory, I could also maybe do separate, because Gary and I own that business, both businesses together, so it's fine. But because I own the other one with my wife, that's why I have a separate business manager account to it. I don't see why you would need 2 unless you were special circumstances. For most people, 1 is going to be fine because you're just trying to overcome that issue of being able to upload your database. By the way, if you never plan on uploading your database and you never plan on doing Facebook ads, then you don't need to worry about Business Manager. I'm assuming that's not you, though.
Yeah. Leah says, does the email and account name need to be exactly the same when creating a new business manager account? I have a new email that is not my Facebook login email. Does that matter?
I don't think it does, but if you run into problems trying to claim the page, then you might want to go back and change it. Mm-hmm. For me, so what happened is when I went to go claim my business page, it wouldn't show any pages. Like I would start typing our business page in and it wouldn't show it. And then I went back and I changed the business name. So like, let me go back to the slide here. It took me forever to figure this out. Like this literally drove me crazy. I wanted to bash my computer in 50 times while this was happening. So what happened is when I went to Business Manager to add a page, when I clicked on this and then I went here, nothing happened. Like just nothing happened. It would circle and circle and circle and circle and circle and nothing would happen. So I eventually had to go back to the business name and then change this to a name that was similar to the business page, and then it would show up. So in this case, you see Gary and Chris's Productions. Like when I took this screenshot, it might be hard to see. When I had Gary and Chris's Productions, nothing would show up, nothing would connect. When I changed this to be what the business page name was, then it would show up. So I think it's like a security issue. Maybe they're trying to prevent businesses claiming
I imagine
fake pages.
That because they are now requiring everybody to use Business Manager, they're figuring out the kinks as they go along, and this process will become smoother as more people adopt it, as they get more feedback on it.
But that's why I did it and figured it out so that you don't have to struggle with trying to claim your page.
Yeah. And a lot of people were saying that you went pretty fast, but that's okay because you guys are getting a replay link to this webinar within a couple of hours.
Yes.
Jim, just as a note, says, I used to create a separate business manager account for each new customer, but at one point, Facebook limited me to 5 business managers. So yes. I don't think they probably want you to have a whole lot.
No. So what, actually, Jim, what you want is for your clients to set up business, for the client to have business manager, and then to be able to assign you as a partner on their account is the way the correct use of it would be.
Carolyn says, if you have your email addresses from customers, how are they validating that they are not from another source?
If you have, It's not, they're not validating the information. They just want to make sure that I mean, they're not, there's no way for them to validate that. But what they're doing is kind of like a cover your butt approach to the rules and regulations of how they handle that data and the privacy issues surrounding it. And so there's no way that for them to vet that. In the world of email, they actually do have a way to vet that, because they have what we call, I forget what they call them. They call them like pot stickers. There's an industry phrase. I forget what it is. Honey pots. Oh. Pot stickers. Honey pots. So in email marketing, there are email addresses that are created by ISPs that are specifically kind of used to be able to determine whether or not that was directly sourced or whether that was from some kind of spam acquisition. When was that email I just scraped and then resold and then eventually shown up? So Facebook doesn't, but what they're trying to do is say, no, I mean, there's no way for them to validate it. I would not be surprised if one day they also implemented something like a honeypot strategy, but they haven't done that yet. And if you're legitimately doing it, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about. If you are sourcing it from, if you're buying lists of people, or then you might want to reconsider that strategy, because you don't have their permission to market anyway. If you're I guess it depends on the type of marketing you're doing. If you're just marketing listings to them, that's not a big deal. But you wouldn't need to do that. You wouldn't need to go to that extent to market listings to people in an area anyway, if that makes sense. So, but they're not validating it.
Paul says, so when we add a page to our business manager, is it for our business page or are we adding a personal page?
You're adding your business page.
Okay, good. And
when the language here is a little confusing. So like you see on my screen here, it says add page. It doesn't mean you're necessarily creating a new page. You're just adding it to the business manager account. That's why there's 3 specific options when you click on that. Actually add a page you own, meaning this is a business page that I already had set up that I am now going to claim this asset. Right? That's an important concept. When you're using Business Manager, you're claiming assets that you own, or you're requesting assets that other people to access assets that other people own. What are assets? Assets are pages. They're Instagram accounts. Okay. So when we go here, if it's a business page that's yours that you've been using, and you've been using Ads Manager to be able to market, and that was the page that the ads came from, we need to claim that page into Business Manager. Now, let's say like Jim was that, you're doing the marketing for somebody else. By the way, you could have Business Manager, I guess, and you can have multiple ad accounts that you claim from a single Business Manager account if you're an agency. And then you would request access to somebody else's page, which is the second one. And then the third option is to create a page. So that can be a little tricky because add page makes it sound like, oh, am I adding another business page? No, you're adding it to your account. You're claiming it. The only time you would actually be creating a brand new business page is if you clicked on the create page thing, and that's probably not what you want to do. You probably have an existing business page that you just want to be able to access now through Business Manager.
Right. And Edward is asking if there's a limit to how many business pages you can add to Business
I've not run into one.
Yeah, and we have a lot of business pages. Yeah. So I would assume that there's probably...
I've got like a dozen or so, and I haven't had a problem with it.
Yeah. So just to clarify, Ads Manager is still a thing that we are using?
Yes. So think of Business Manager as a way to access Ads Manager and to access these other tools. So it's just simply an organizational structure to be able to have these ad accounts. Now, for us, it's going to be confusing because it's like, well, I don't need all this other stuff. The only thing we need to be able to do is to market to the customer file. But that's the requirement they are now making us do. And so if that's, and I would imagine marketing to your database is probably a key part of your marketing strategy. I know it's a key part of ours. The majority of our marketing dollars, I shouldn't say that. The majority of our marketing dollars probably goes to marketing listings. The second largest quantity of marketing dollars goes to marketing to our database, to our sphere of influence, and to our digital farms. So that's why it's such an important thing is that, when you're implementing omnipresent marketing, and your people are seeing your ads that are being displayed to the people that know you have such a far greater impact and effectiveness than the ones who you're putting in front of people who don't. And that is why this feature is which makes Facebook advertising so awesome is the ability to upload your database and market to them. It's not even one that you can do in Google Ads. Like Google AdWords will not allow you to upload a list unless your account has a lot of account history. And mine doesn't even qualify. And I've spent gazillions of dollars in Google Ads. All right, let me recall. I spent many tens of thousands of dollars in Google Ads, and my account still is not seasoned long enough to be able to upload a database of customers and market to them. So it is a feature, but only for, I guess, people who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know. I guess I'll find out soon enough one day.
Do you manage your Instagram accounts from Business Manager as well now?
No, remember, the only thing Business Manager is organizing the information, but you are going to go to the individual places to run it. Okay, so like, for example, let's pull up my screen here. So I'm in Business Manager. And like I said, the only confusing thing was how the business page works when you're changing it, but I don't need to come to Business Manager to start using Ads Manager. So I go to Ads Manager just like I always did to create advertisements, right? So I will come into Ads Manager and there's all my stuff, okay? Same thing with all the other tools here. And then you're going to go to Instagram. You'll log in through Instagram on your phone or wherever you do to be able to do Instagram. So all this is doing, it's like it's a way to organize for people who have multiple individuals, multiple accounts, multiple pages, one place to be able to sort of see all that and have access to all that. But it's only that, having access to those individual things. You'll still go to that individual Ads Manager account to create ads. You're not doing it through Business Manager. Business Manager is like the pass-through to get to where you want to go. And it is a little confusing at first. I'm not going to lie. It does take a little bit of like going into, here's what I'm going to suggest. If you need to do this and you upgrade or you switch over to Business Manager, what you're going to want to do is, all right, go into Ads Manager and say, okay, I got that. Now I can hear it. And then go into my Facebook business page. Okay, now I figured out how to access that. Remember that little warning that I mentioned is that you'll want to make sure the pages one is the only one that's really funky, is that when you first go to your page, you got to make sure you're in the actual, have the ability to make changes to it. So when I go to business, a lot of times when I go to our business page, I go there by just searching from Facebook or going for my shortcut links, and it's not pulling up the right window. So that's the only tricky one that I even get. There's been a number of, when I do it at home, if I'm working on it, I'm usually fine. It's when I'm doing a live presentation and I'm trying to pull up my business page and I'm like, why is it looking the way it's supposed to look? And then I'm like, oh, I got to go to Business Manager to access this.
Yeah. Leah says, will our custom audiences transfer, and do we need to reset up current ads that are supposed to be running to custom lists?
Good question. The custom audiences will transfer. I'm not sure about having to recreate the ads, though. That's what I'm not sure of. But what you could do is go in there and see if they're still running. They'll either be turned off or paused. So look at the ad sets that have those, and then look at the actual, make sure that here's what you'll want to do is go into the ad set, right? So this is a campaign. You want to go into the ad set, go and look at it and make sure that you're not seeing any problems with.
If it's paused, that toggle would be off.
Right. Or there might be, or if it's not firing to one of these custom audiences, you would see like an error there saying, hey, this audience is not working or something like that. Right. So you'll see it here, or you'll see the whole ad set turned off. You'll see something telling you, hey, it's not working right.
Gotcha. Penny says, if you don't want to upload your contacts to Facebook but still want to advertise, is it necessary to do Business Manager?
No. Although I'd be surprised you don't want to update your contacts. Most of the marketing, I mean, here's the thing. From a marketing principle standpoint, for me, as we do lead generation, as we expand our business and look for new business to do, I've got like 2 different audiences that I market to that I have found to be effective. So it starts with intent. So when I'm marketing a listing, I want as many people who are in the market to purchase real estate to see that listing, because that's what I promise I've made to the seller, is to market this listing. The other side of the equation is, all right, what am I doing to generate business? Because one of the things that I've found over the years is that Facebook has changed in terms of how it wants us to use it and then what produces the results. So if I'm not marketing to a listing, and then when I'm doing marketing to develop my brand, to be able to focus on getting more business, to be able to do lead generation, I find that zeroing in on either our database, our sphere of influence, and providing value-based content, right? So I'm not saying I'm running trash ads to them. Value-based content like the MVP, value-based content to our database, and value-based content to I think we've got 2 or 3 geographic farms that we're working on. And then I have this other concept called the digital farm, which is not like just marketing to a farm area, but it's marketing to everybody who visits our website, everybody who visits our YouTube channel, everybody who visits or engages with our Facebook business page, anybody who engages with us online. I consider that my digital farming. And so those are like the pillars of who I market to, because just marketing to people who don't know us, or at least aren't even haven't engaged with us, or aren't even in a farm area, I find the quality of that lead is so low that, and it takes so long to close that, I mean, I might as well just be, buying leads from somebody else and be complaining about how those are low quality leads. So that's where I have found, and one of the biggest mistakes that I find is that this used to work about 5 years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago. I used to be able to create these ads that were like home valuation ads or home buyer guide ads. And I would literally market them to anybody that was interested in moving. And it would work. I would, for about $10, I would generate a new person into my database. And, but it was a low quality lead. It took a really long time, and a lot of follow up to be able to turn that. And only a small percentage of them did. Versus, here's the alternative, versus being able to expand that word of mouth that happens through our sphere of influence. And now we get more people coming to us and saying, man, you guys are really blowing up, man. I've been meaning to tell you that so-and-so wants to buy or sell a home, or, hey, I've been thinking of buying or selling a home and I see you all over. So, I'm going to work with you again. So I think that is, it's a difference in understanding in terms of how do we market something like a service, right? We market a service, which means it's really complex. We're not marketing, protein bars. We're not marketing water bottles, these things that I consider only require lizard brain decision making, right? Lizard brain marketing for us to make a decision on what works. Like when I go to buy this, the protein bar, it's not like there's a whole lot of thought going on there, right? I don't think to myself, do I really trust this? Will they sell this in? Will they take good care of me? Will the decisions that they make on my behalf, like I'm only worried about like, oh, look, new Go Dark chocolate pretzel. That looks like it's going to taste good. Okay, right? Lizard brain marketing. But when you're marketing a service, what you're doing is you're selling trust in our competence, trust in our ability, trust in our character. And because of that, it is much easier to build on that word of mouth, build on that sphere of influence, and start building up that online presence through on the marketing in specific areas to be able to bring that business back to you, to be able to capture more of that referred opportunity. Did you know that I think it's 44% of home buyers and sellers, the way they found their real estate professional was through word of mouth, right? It is through word of mouth. That's the largest single chunk. Online leads were about 10%. So it's 4 times more, over 4 times more of the business came through this word of mouth. Now, how do you build? Most of us don't know how to shape word of mouth marketing. We just like, oh, does it happen? It just happens. I take good care of my clients and it should just happen. That's not true. The way this works is that you must proactively put information out there and put your brand yourself within the sphere of influence, build an identity within your sphere of influence so that when a real estate related conversation takes place, that a person who's been receiving your marketing can verify that through the word of mouth that takes place. And that's how this takes place. And that's how we build our own business. So you might have special circumstances where, you're not going to market to your sphere of influence. Maybe you're not selling services, maybe you're doing something else. But if you are selling services, I would highly, highly, highly consider the way in which we teach you how to do it.
Okay. You hadn't gotten into uploading a custom audience yet, had you? Or did you?
I did.
You did. Okay. Then are we just in Q&A right now, or do you have something else you want to talk about?
I think we'll just do Q&A.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Cool. Then I don't need to rush you through any of these. You can feel free to expound as much as you like.
Sorry. By the way, the reason why I get on that marketing to your database or your sphere of influence and the word of mouth thing is that there's a really good chance, and I know because I spend we end up spending a lot of money in the businesses that Gary and I have together. We end up spending a lot of marketing dollars, whether it's through our training business, through our real estate business. So in the businesses that we have together, we end up spending a lot of marketing because I'm a marketer, right? Like that's one of the main things that I do is use marketing to generate opportunities for us, to build a brand for us. And I have found that I've probably wasted 50% of my marketing dollars that I've spent over the years. If you want to look in our Facebook ad account alone, I think I've spent $700,000 over the last 5 years. And I know that probably half that money was wasted. But the half that wasn't wasted worked. Mm-hmm. And it worked enough to cover the half that was wasted and then some. And so what I'm finding is that this concept of using marketing to build trust is essential to cultivating business, right? Of any form. Like people choose to work with those people that they trust. We even make a lot of lizard brain decisions based off the implied trust that would be there through brand marketing. But what I found is that trust is essential in our marketing efforts because that's what we're selling. Yes, we help people buy and sell homes, but what they buy from us is trust. They trust us. This is evidenced by the fact that according to the National Association of Realtors, when it comes to the number one factor in choosing their real estate professional, home buyers and home sellers say that it's the reputation of the agent, it's their honesty, integrity. That's like they want to make sure that we're going to take care of them and that we can do what we do. And that means we're selling trust. We're asking them to trust us. And so we have to preemptively communicate that if we want more people to work with us, if we want more people to refer us, if we want more people to work with us again if we're capturing a repeat business. But when we neglect to build trust and hope to accomplish lead generation by bypassing trust and hoping a little tactic of filling out a landing page to get something, that's only the beginning of the trust building process. Most of us don't have the fortitude, myself included, by the way. I don't have the fortitude to wait the 12 to 18 months to nurture a lead through that download this thing and stay in touch with someone. I just don't have it. That's also why I don't do a lot of the home search site leads. Mm-hmm. I don't have the patience nor the process to stay in touch for 12 to 18 months. So I would I can do that, right? And then if you look at like our private Facebook group, you'll see every now and then someone will say, hey, what do you think of this home search site's leads? Or how do you think of this group's leads? And you'll have like this mixed reaction. Most people basically saying it's not that great. And maybe a few saying, oh, it worked out okay for us. But by and large, it's usually a thumbs down approach. And I know every year I go through this. Every year I'm like, Gary, maybe we should try this home search site leads, or maybe we should try this one again. Maybe they've changed, right? And no, like it's always pretty much the same thing. Because it's not the home search sites. It's not the fact that it's not the quality of lead. It's the quality of follow-up and nurturing that I can offer and my ability to be patient. I can't wait 18 months. I want deals to happen now. All right. I'll wait 90 days if I have to, but that even seems like a really long time to be able to start seeing the efforts of the lead. So anyway, let's get on to the next question.
Cool. Ariel says, business manager is saying I must be an admin of the page to add it to business manager.
Yes.
I'm already an admin, but it won't let me add it.
You're already an admin, but it won't let you add. Are you using the same email address? But for your business manager account and that business page would be my first question, because that's what it's basing it off of.
Juanita wants to know if this new business manager implementation impacts our need for using lookalike lists, or how we would create those.
It doesn't affect how it creates them, but because if you're using lookalike lists that are based off of customer files, right? So lookalike list means that you can tell Facebook to create an audience like a specific source, like, hey, you can choose your website visitors and say, hey, go find, create a list of people that I can market to that are like a 1% match to my website visitors. So if you're using the source of the lookalike audience, if it is a customer file, then you will need to use Business Manager to use them. And so let me go over here to audiences real quick. I'll just show you what I'm talking about there for those of you guys who aren't familiar with lookalike audiences. So lookalike audiences is a really cool feature by Facebook, and I've been playing around with them. My jury's still out on whether just using, like when I'm marketing a listing, I'm not sure whether it's better to use the lookalike audiences that I've created versus just using the Zillow interest that they've suggested that we use. I don't know. So I don't know which. I do both a lot of times. But the lookalike audience is a cool feature. Eventually it'll load here and I'll be able to talk about it. But where you go is you go to Facebook in that same audiences section where you would create a custom audience. Remember custom audiences where you would upload your database and say, hey, create a lookalike audience, which is create an audience of people that I can market to that look like, and then you specify the source. One of the sources that you might specify is this list of customers that I've uploaded. So it's not, for some reason, it's not loading right now, but that's what I would speculate the impact of Business Manager on the lookalike audience is, only if you're using the customer file as the source for the source of the lookalike.
Gotcha. Cheryl says, when I changed to Business Manager, I still have my personal ad account and the original account is the default.
Yes.
Am I safe to delete the personal account?
I don't know if
I've already been transferred to Business Manager.
I don't know. So what you can do is you just going to see this little drop down at the top here. This is how you switch between your personal account and Business Manager. I don't know if I'm not a fan of deleting stuff.
Me either.
I have found that, when I delete stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's not a big deal. It's the 1 time out of 10 that it was such a catastrophic deal that it has made me never want to delete stuff. It's actually, and I used to be a software developer early in my career, and a rule was you don't delete stuff. You back it up, you save it, but you don't delete it. So I wouldn't yet. If you maybe like sit on it for a few months and then decide whether or not you want to do that.
Yeah. DW is saying on the Business Manager page, they're asking if I want to add security. Is this necessary?
Yeah, you probably want to get around to doing that. They'll probably force us eventually. I haven't done it. Let me see. Have I done it? I'll tell you in a second. I have so many Business Manager accounts and ad accounts. A lot of times I forget like what part of the process did I get to in that one. So yeah. Oh no, like I still haven't done it for, this is our main one here for Paperless Agent. And I haven't added the security yet. I think the main reason why is that it wants you to have somebody like another person have two that. Yeah. So I never got around to doing it. It hasn't hindered us at all.
But it's probably a good idea.
Eventually. I would imagine eventually they'll force us to do it somehow, just like they're forcing people to move up to Business Manager who want to market to the customer file.
Paul is saying it's looked like I have to set up a new Facebook pixel under the Facebook.
I think you can just claim. I think you can claim your previous pixel.
Show us how.
I haven't done this yet, so.
Experiment with how.
Okay. So my pixels are showing up in here, but I think what I need to do is go to Business Settings over here, go to Data Sources, and under here there's pixels. And what you can do is add a pixel. And you go here, and this is going to add the pixel. I'm surprised it didn't port over. Did you move? The question I would have is, did you move over the previous one? Because the old pixel should have moved over.
What does that mean? Move over the pixel.
So remember when? Let me show you right here real quick. When we were doing the Business Manager setup, remember I asked if I wanted to move over my account, move over the account stuff. Where is it? Right here. So when I moved over my ad account into my personal ad account into Business Manager, when I did the move, and maybe you haven't finished this part of the process yet, is you have to move the account over, because the pixel should move over along with your audiences should all move over into the new account, into the Business Manager account.
Yeah, she's saying that she claimed her existing ad accounts, but it didn't move over the pixel.
Did you? I don't think I saw this move account until after I clicked on the confirm email. The confirm button in the email. It brought me here to do this. So if you were rushing through it and you didn't go through the email, you have to go through this. You're moving your ad account to XYZ if you want all that other stuff to port over. Pixels, audiences, all that kind of stuff requires you to do the move. And I believe I'm pretty sure that I didn't do this until I confirmed through this email that got sent right here that I needed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cheryl says, since I add names to my database every month, how often do I need to import my database into Facebook, and will duplicates cancel each other out?
So you want to see what I do? I'll show you what I do. How about that?
Yes.
All right. So notice here is upload from 2 days ago, or whenever October 30th was. I guess 9 days ago. All right. And so then here's an upload from the database in September. And then this doesn't. Oh, I guess I do. This is the one place where I have been deleting the audiences. So pretty much every month, Cheryl, I just go through, I download and I upload. I download and I upload. I download it out of my CRM and just create it here. Now, the alternative is you can update an audience, right? You can come in here to an existing audience and you can add and edit people through here. So see this add customers, you can just click on uploading a file with just the new customers and it'll add that to this group, okay? Or you don't even have to do that. You can just copy and paste them right here, right? So that's probably the easiest way to probably do that is instead of adding. Now, the reason why I do is because I never really I think we added about a dozen people in our database. Which ones were the new ones? So I just upload the whole thing. But if you're more organized than I am and you're like, no, I got these 5 people that I need to add, just edit the existing audience, add customers, and then you click on the copy and paste one. Now, there are more sophisticated ways of doing that. Like I don't have them for our real estate business, but I do use them in our paperless agent business. There are third-party providers that will do like a real-time update between your CRM and Facebook. But I don't like most CRMs and stuff like that. Like I tried doing the not Zendesk, but Zapier integration, and it didn't work. Like I messed with that forever trying to get that to work, and it didn't. So then I ended up having to pay for like $100 a month for a service that syncs our database with our Facebook audiences. So I don't. To me, it's not worth $100 a month to buy it for our real estate business.
Edward wants to know how long it will be before Facebook starts charging us to upload our customer files.
I don't think they ever will because they charge you to run the ads.
Yeah, and they don't want to limit you being able to run ads because then that'll hurt their revenue. Like that's how Facebook is making money is on advertising. So
right, yeah, no, this is the audience feature. Where they make money is on the ad spend itself. So when you use this audience to place an ad, that's when that's where you pay the monies.
Yep. Kimberly says, can you please show us where to add your database from Business Manager again? So go to start at the beginning. Go to Business Manager, new. And then
all right. We'll do it from there. So Business Manager. So I'm in Business Manager. And instead of trying to get there through Business Manager, I'm just going to go back up here, go to Audiences, go to Audiences under the Assets section. And from here, there's going to be a Create Audience button. And then this is I'm going to create a custom audience. That's that lookalike audience that I was talking about earlier, but I'm going to create a custom audience to upload my database. And then I'm going to select customer file. And then I'm going to add customers from my own file or copy and paste the data. And then I'm just going to upload it here. And remember what I was talking about, being able to specify the source or the origin of that data. And that was something that popped up after that whole Cambridge Analytica scandal type thing. This was in response to that.
And for people who aren't seeing the number of people in their audience, the sizes, like you have fewer than 1,000, fewer than 1,000, but then when you have 9,300, why are people not showing sizes?
Well, if it was created fairly recently, it could take a couple of days for it to do that. And it won't tell you if it's under 1,000.
Yeah.
How many is in there for privacy reasons.
Okay. Jonathan says, what about Facebook IDs? Worth searching for them?
I mean, if you have I don't know. So the Facebook ID is the actual profile ID. And I guess you can upload that if you have them. But the only way to look them up, I think, is to like do that graph search. I don't even know if I haven't used that in a while. I don't look for it. I just upload the email addresses. I mean, the thing is, when you upload the email addresses and phone numbers, let's say you get a 70% match, that's good enough. Because this is not the only way I'm marketing. So if you look at like our omnipresent marketing program, and we do the same thing, by the way, like we do the same campaign that we send you is one of the campaigns that I send out every month. Now I do more than just that. And so in addition to this campaign that we send out that we share with you, I will typically do, anytime we have a new listing that I think is like cool, that's nice, that I want to share, I'll send an email to the database with some kind of cool thing about it. Do that once a month usually. I don't do it for all of our listings. I think it would be too many emails to our database. I also do it. I'll usually come up with like a cool email that's to send out. I just did one that we just sent out earlier this week called, the subject line was, "You shouldn't keep this a secret from me." And
I was so pleased with himself.
I really liked it. I really liked it. And I'll probably share that same email with you guys. What I have a tendency, as I create emails and send them out, I mean, I'll share them on a future training session, or I'll email them out to you guys. I did another one that I had done recently was that the career news one, where we talked about us changing brokerages and then joining up with Jonathan, Gary's brother, and going in business. So I've done a number of those types of emails where it was like a supplemental email, and they're usually personal tone in writing, and it's not like it's a value base. It's more like a communication, a personal connection type email that I send out. So I forget. Oh, so anyway, yeah, when you look at all of the marketing, instead of just saying I'm doing this one thing, they've got emails that they're receiving. They've got the ads. We are also posting this on social media on top of the ads that we do. And then, of course, I think we also started doing, not every month, but we also started doing the voicemail tool, the slide dial tool, which Gary records a voice message, and then we follow up with a modification on this script that we share with you guys. So it's part of, because most of the time, if you're calling people with a phone script, 7 out of 10 times you're probably hitting their voicemail. So we're using this service called Slide Dial, where you can it's pretty cheap too, where you record a voicemail and then it sends it to their phone.
Wendell says, can you still share from your business account to your personal account? That hasn't changed.
That has not changed. I think Facebook used poor terminology when choosing the name for business manager. They have too many, like business page, they have too many.
Kind of like us in digital marketing.
It's like, I get it. It's hard to come up with a name that serves the purpose really well, that doesn't confuse everybody. But I really felt like business manager confuses people in terms of what it is and how to use it within.
I think your explanation that it's an organizational place is a good one. Because it doesn't really impact the way that you were functioning before. It's just another way of accessing the information you already had. It's
an organizational view. It's actually more for them to, like, if you look at it, it's a way for Facebook to more easily organize those people who have multiple pages, multiple ad accounts, and all of that stuff. And it's a way for, it's a great tool for agencies, for example, for an agency to be able to organize what they do and how they do, which spend more money than most of us. If you look at the typical advertiser, you got big brands and you've got agencies, and they control a lot of the advertising dollars, and they control a lot of the features that get developed. So for most of us, though, who aren't doing that, we just have to deal with the changes and keep moving on.
All right. We're down to our last 10 or so. Richard says, can we use a top % zip code for real estate ads? I've had a problem with this when trying to advertise a listing. I'm not sure what top % zip code means.
Top % zip code. I'm not sure what that is either.
Okay. Well, Richard, if you're still listening, I'm not familiar with the term top % zip code or what that would refer to. So if you can elaborate, we'll try and answer your question. Cheryl says, Gary is getting listings from his Facebook ads. I'm not. What coaching club session is the best one for me to watch to duplicate Gary's online success?
Well, everything that I was talking about earlier about the audience selection and and how we're going about doing it. So when we market, there's a couple of things because it's not, when we use Facebook to market, it's not part. It's not like it's as Gary's getting listings and buyer clients and seller clients. Facebook is one of the tools amongst many that we employ to achieve the results. So I don't look at Facebook as the end all be all tool, because I'm implementing it as part of an omnipresent marketing campaign. So when I define my audiences of who I'm trying to market to. So with Gary, it's pretty straightforward, right? We've got his database, and in his database, we've got just under 570 people in the database that represent our sphere of influence. So we have that. Then we've got the farm areas, that the actual geographic farm areas that we want to market to. For us, it's Westlake and Lakeway. And then within that, as we acquire listings, I also do a real strong marketing to anybody within a 1 mile radius of that particular home, because I want anybody who would recognize that home or be like, oh, I think I know that home, or I know that address. And so what we're doing is, so what that means, those are the tactics. But if you take a step back and ask, well, how do I string those series of tactics together? Because if I were to just do that and not do the other things that I'm doing, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work all that well. So, we're really good at let me take that back. We're kind of good at doing our monthly value program campaigns. We're pretty good at sending out information on a regular basis. We're really good at making sure that we do lots of video-based content that's real estate tips, and we put that in front of his database, and we put that in front of those farm areas, and we put that in front of the people that have engaged with us in some capacity. So when you look at our definition of the audience and who we put this information in front of, it's really well defined, which means all of dollars that I'm spending aren't getting scattered about all over Austin. They're getting into all the money's going into a specific set of groups of people. If you look at my lead generation budget, and I calculated this just yesterday. So listing marketing aside, so I think on the average listing now, I'm spending about $300 on ad spend to market a listing per listing. And then when you look at my ongoing lead generation, it's between $700 and $1,000 a month is what I'm spending. All of that money is just going to these, like I said, outside of the listing marketing, all of it's just poured into our database, poured into our farm areas, and poured into our digital farm, so to speak. And that's where those opportunities are coming back from. One of the things that it has required is it takes time. Like, we started this process a long time ago, and it takes a long time. So here's how I know it takes time, because we have, like everybody else, fits and starts. We might get busy, or we go on vacation, or things might get busy here at Paperless Agent. And so we ignore our real estate business for a little while. And like inevitably, we'll be talking about it. I'm like, hey, what do we got in the pipeline in our real estate business? I'm like, well, we ain't got nothing in the pipeline right now. We've been busy doing all this other stuff. Well, all right, well, let's get busy and start generating. We got to fill the pipeline back up. And it always takes, every time I have to restart it, it always shakes my confidence a little bit, because here's what happens. We turn on the marketing engine. We start doing our omnipresent marketing campaigns. We send out MVPs, and we start doing real estate video tips, and we start pouring all this effort, energy, content, information, and ad spend into these specific defined audiences. And it takes like 60 to 90 days before you start really seeing the results. Now, every now and then what will happen as well, through just sheer personal interaction on the follow-up, we might get, oh, hey, I've been meaning to list my home, or, oh, I've been meaning to buy a home. And that's like, okay, it's working. And then after that, it's like 45 days or 60 days of nothing. You're like, wait a minute, what happened? I thought all this stuff was working. And then all of a sudden you start getting a feedback, and all of a sudden people start talking. And then it's like, oh, now I get the listing. Like, we have a listing that is going on the market tomorrow, actually, and it's from this process. But gosh, it took it takes much longer than you realize, because 30 days is a long time. 30 days is a long time 60 days is a long time to have faith in these steps that I'm taking are going to produce business. But the cycle in real estate is actually like 90 days, and that seems like forever. So what we usually do, and this is my tendency, is like, all right, I don't have 90 days to wait. Let's go buy that home search site. So at least we're getting something to respond to. And that's actually the mistake that I end up making, is I get my head turned to the quick fix, which is not a solution, but just a distraction to the process that has proven to work. So that's how Gary generates it, because of what we're doing on that side of it.
Gotcha. So Richard sent us a screenshot of what he was looking for the top percentage. It's in regards to income. So it's a household income demographic targeting, but I didn't think that was available anymore.
I thought that went away, unless that's something new that they added back in. I'll have to check that out, because
they removed that specifically because of all the privacy changes.
Yeah, I'm surprised you have a campaign that's running that, unless they added it back in. Which, by the way, I've noticed that they have been adding some of those types of audiences back. Like they had taken away. What was one they had taken away? They had taken away a job title for a long time, but then they recently added job title back in. So let me see. I'll tell you in a second. Let's see. We got browse demographics. It could be that they added them back in because they sourced that information again. Oh, they do have income. Look at that. That's added back in there. Well, now, gosh, I did not see that. So yeah, I would definitely be playing with that.
They're saying it's giving him problems. So
yeah, probably it's because I think they must have recently added this back in, because they didn't have this for a while. When I'm waiting, that means there's hope that they're going to have the home ownership status come back. A big problem that Facebook had is not that they offered these, it's how they acquired the information. So back in the day, remember when there was the likely to move, and then there was like income ranges, and then there was whether they owned a home, whether they rented a home, or what their home was worth. They used to have a lot more targeting that was available with Facebook, and then they had to shore that up. It wasn't that they had the information. The problem was how they got it. And so maybe what they're doing is going out and starting to get that information themselves, which is something they could do. It's just costly and takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, he says that this is info acquired from the IRS, as he understands. And then Mark says you can't use income with real estate ads. We got flagged when we tried that also.
You know, it could potentially be a, what do you call it? Equal housing issue, right? So that's another thing that Facebook has been running into is, are people who are running ads that are marketing listings, for example, is there exclusionary practices taking place, which would be, you know, violation of the equal housing regulations and things that we have to follow. And so that could end up being an issue. That could be part of the problem.
Another kind of random error that someone shared, Brendan says that he was trying to run a Facebook ad and he got the error message, account does not qualify to create a CPA ad. This account has been created too recently, or it spends too little to be eligible for CPA ad creation. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one. A CPA costs, what's a CPA ad?
I have no idea.
So if I'm reading it right, I'm not exactly sure what a conversion-based ad, maybe? I don't know. I've not run into that. I have run into that with Google, where they would say the account doesn't have enough history to do use certain types of features, but I've not run into that in Facebook yet. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just I haven't run into it. Sorry.
Gotcha. Lana says, with the 1 mile radius targeting, work in an area where most of the homeowners are living out of state, because most of these homes are second homes. And I clarified with her that we are using that 1 mile targeting audience for the purpose of increasing our brand awareness with the people in that farm area. She said that people don't actually live there year round because it's vacation homes. So would that still be an effective targeting audience for her?
Well, in that case, I'm actually trying to market to the sellers, the prospective sellers. And so even though they may not live there, they still own that home. So when you're creating that audience, and I know this is, I'm not, because we don't have a lot of, we do have some lakefront property, but a lot of the people still live in the area, right? Here in Austin, around Lake Travis and stuff. But let me, what was I going to do? I was going to, I wanted to look up an ad set real quick. So in that ad set,
while you're looking that up, Pedro just shared a link for you, Brendan, about CPA ad Facebook compliance. It looks like it's just a glitch. So check out that link that Pedro shared, because that was really helpful. So thank you, Pedro.
So under the locations on it, you can distinguish between people who live in the location, people recently in the location, or people who travel in the location, which doesn't necessarily indicate whether they own the home or not. So that's an area probably where you'd have to do a little bit of testing, because what well, I guess from when it comes to creating excess opportunity, even marketing to those people, because the people who've been looking at real estate in those areas are also the ones that I'd like to be able to market to. But because we're focused on listings, it would probably be a slightly different strategy. You would apply it a little bit differently. You may not use that 1 mile radius factor in marketing if you're in an area where all of the homes are owned by people who don't live in them, like second home stuff. Ours is not that case, and so that's why I'm doing it that way. And this is one of the things, like every market's got different dynamics, right? So if we were not in Austin, but we were in San Diego, specifically like in the Del Mar area of San Diego or the La Jolla area of San Diego, that's the type of stuff we would also be looking at. It's like, hey, only a small percentage of people actually live in these homes, and they own them. A lot of them own them, but they're only here 2 weeks out of the year or whatever.
Mm-hmm. A couple of people were on the session today from Florida.
Oh, nice.
And they said that actually in Florida, and I would imagine other like snowbird attracting season places, said that the campaign, the November monthly value campaign topic needs to be adjusted for them because their high season is in the winter as opposed to the off season. So what would you recommend them they do for that?
I would go back. So when you have access to the entire archive of all the topics that we've ever done,
yeah, that was going to be my
and pick one that you haven't done. So go, let me go here, the Paperless Agent dashboard. So log into your dashboard, go to the monthly value program, and when you open this, you'll be able to go back.
Sure.
I don't know if mine accesses it right. That's why, because I have a master account, so sometimes it doesn't look right. But so we go in here. Fingers crossed that it's going to look right. Oh, okay. It looks good. So you can go back and just pick one, pick one from last, what was it? December or November?
We're in November.
Yes, sorry. So you go to like, this is 2016, 12 tips, top 12 tips for a safer home. By the way, like anytime you guys encounter a topic where you're like, I'm not sure about that one, then just go back into the archives and pick one that does work for you. Here's another one. Where is it? It's Welcome Home, 10 tips to turn your neighborhood into a hometown haven. That was actually a really well-received one. And by the way, if you ever want to pick up the pace, so if you want to be able to, you can actually do this more than once a month. You could probably do this every 3 weeks if you wanted to. And so you could just go back into the archives, pull one out, or maybe every other month, just throw an extra one in there. But it is okay for you to be able to go back and use these. They're not, it's not like you just have to modify it so it doesn't say if there is a date associated with it, but I don't think there is. We don't even copyright these things, so you guys won't have, if you wanted to take it to a printer or to the copy place and print them out and send them out to people, you won't run into any problems there.
Yeah, so if that ever comes up for you guys, I know a couple of other people were hesitant to use the Christmas icon or the
Christmas
imagery.
Tree, yeah,
the imagery so early. If you guys are ever worried about the design of the campaign for that particular month, know that you have that huge archive. Yeah. We've been doing this for several years now, so and a lot of those topics are evergreen, so they can be used whenever. If for any reason one of the campaigns isn't resonating with you, check out that library and see if there's something else that works a little bit better for you. Linda wants to know if the LEAP program is going to be a part of the Paperless Agent Coaching Club membership or an extra charge.
There is going to be a special offer for people in the club, but it is a separate program and certification than the club.
Chris says, can you do a session specifically on audience criteria changes, i.e. likely to move, income brackets, etc.? We actually did that for the last coaching club session. If you go to the resource library and then click on the sort by date option, the first one listed on there is our most recent session on how to market listings. It goes over Chris's new process for how we're marketing our listings for Crest partners. And it talks specifically about the audience selections that we're using currently that have replaced the likely to move and income bracket targeting. So definitely check that out in the resource library.
Yeah, big one for me too. Like when it comes to marketing listings is in the last year, I've increased my focus on adding Google ads to that marketing mix, specifically for marketing listings. So.
Yep. And that was the last question.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me and sticking around and talking about all these major updates. There's probably more updates coming. You know, that's one of the things that about technology in general is that nothing ever stays the same. Is they're always making changes, ultimately for a better experience for their customers and then for us as well as people using the platform. So as more information comes out, I'll be sure to include them into either future topics or blog posts or videos that we share. But until the next time, which by the way, our next member training is not going to be on the third Wednesday of the month.
I know I always say it's always on the third
Wednesday of the month. She lied because it's the day before Thanksgiving here.
You guys aren't going to come hang out with us the day before Thanksgiving.
I'm going to be getting ready for the big turkey day. So we're actually going to do it on the 28th. For the next member training.
I'll put that link in the session.
And so we'll put that and remember that. So yeah, keep in mind that the next member training is on the 28th and not on the third Wednesday of the month. So until then, I'll see you guys online. Take care.
Bye. Everybody.